I would invite here Esther to present the assessment and benchmarking of policy instruments. Please, Esther.
Thanks, Barbara. I will share my screen. Okay, so first I'm introducing myself because probably most of you don't know me. I'm Esther Turay from MRI, and I recently joined the project, so I'm new. So I will talk about the AGORA assessment and benchmarking tool that was developed recently. First, I will give an overview of the tool to explain the main structure of it and the objective of this tool, and then I will present the case of Szarvas, a project from Szarvas, which is a territorial partner in AGORA from Hungary, and we made a testing of this tool in a Szarvas project. Just a second. So the assessment and benchmarking tool is part of work package 1, which is basically aimed at developing a framework for collecting and adapting different policies and practices that are innovative and can be used for urban redevelopment of underused or unused spaces. And activity 1.3 aims at establishing operational concepts and methods by which the cities and partners can make a better understanding of their practices and how they can improve them. So this assessment and benchmarking tool is basically a list of questions and tables which help cities to analyze their own practices and find some ways to improve them. The tool is developed for innovative policy instruments or interventions, but actually it can be applied for more traditional ones as well, because it is not given for every city to have the resources to experiment with very new things. So for example, in smaller cities, they have the option to do very good projects which are a bit more traditional. So it can be used for any urban redevelopment projects, and also similarly, although it has some questions which are targeted at urban redevelopment projects specifically, it can be applied in other areas of policymaking tools. So you can adapt this tool to other areas. So what is to be analyzed and evaluate? So the overarching category we use is intervention. An intervention can be anything done by the municipality or together with civil actors or market actors, and it can be a project or a policy instrument which is more complex. So, for example, a project can be based on an EU grant, a 5-year-long project, which includes for example, the renovation of an old factory building and starting some new project in it. Or a policy instrument can be, for example, participatory planning process that is used in different projects. So the point is that the intervention we analyze and assess with this assessment and benchmarking tool should be complex enough to be analyzed. So it should have an own objective, and probably it will include other smaller units, so other smaller policy tools. And these smaller policy tools will be analyzed only as parts of a larger intervention. So for example, a platform is probably a part of a larger project or a larger policy instrument, and it only contributes to only a few functions of a larger intervention. But you will see it how it works in the illustration later. So this tool can be applied for an already finished, already closed project, or an ongoing permanent one, or it can give you useful aspects to plan your next project in the future. And it's important to note that this tool is developed for the internal usage of the cities. So this is not about promoting yourself or convince others that you are doing a very great job, even if it's true that you're doing a very great job. But the point is to make to have a new perspective and a fresh look on your own operation, and to formulate the lessons to be learned that can be utilized in the next project, or find ways to improve the same intervention that you are analyzing. In some cases, maybe you will getting more conscious about your own good practices, because it's possible that there is something the municipality is very good at, but doesn't really use it very consciously. So maybe there are some strengths to build on more, and maybe there are some old routines which are a bit limiting, and this assessment and benchmarking tool maybe gives a method to see these routines and to break them. So this is the structure of the tool. The first part is the assessment, and the second part is the benchmarking of specific policy instruments. The assessment starts from the larger unit, so from a whole intervention. In the step one, there's a detailed description of the project or policy instrument. In step two, there will be 5 aspects: impact, effectiveness, participation and transparency, inclusivity and equity, and sustainability. And under every aspect, there are questions to be answered. And also, you will list under every aspect all of those policy tools which are contributing to the specific aspects. So, for example, financial planning contributed to the effectiveness of the project. And yes, and it's important that these questions are guiding questions, which means that some of them won't be applicable for your specific case, but then you can skip them. And in step 3, there's a SWOT analysis of an intervention. Maybe some of you have already met this method. It means basically a table in which you can list the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats the intervention. And step 4 is also SWOT analysis, but this is the analysis of a policy tool within the intervention, which you choose based on the criteria of innovativeness. So you choose an innovative policy tool, and you make a SWOT analysis specifically about it. The benchmarking process uses a comparison to best practices. So you choose a policy tool, which is again a smaller unit within the intervention, and you compare it to a best practice. Maybe the easiest is if you choose a best practice within the intervention of the same city or organization. And so, for example, if you're analyzing a project that includes a survey, then you will find a previous project, maybe 5 years ago. There was a very successful project containing a survey, and the survey contributed to participation and transparency very much. And then you compare whether your current survey contributes to participation and transparency, and if it's similarly effective in this sense, then you can note here high, and so on with the other aspects. So I will illustrate this. Maybe this was too abstract, but you will see it, how it works actually in practice. In Szarvas, there was an infrastructure redevelopment of a family and child welfare center. So the first step is the description of the intervention based on listed questions. They are not written here, but we will send you the whole assessment and benchmarking tool. So I'm not going through the whole list of questions, just an illustration. Step 2 is the assessment through 5 aspects. So here you can see the first aspect, which is impact, and this is the outcome. So here the questions are reformulated as subtitles. So, for example, the question is how many people are directly or indirectly affected by the intervention, and here we talked with the 2 employees of the Szarvas municipality. Esther, my chair, is also here with us from the municipality, and we talked through these questions, and you can see here that some questions are not applicable for a case. Then you just write here not applicable. This is still the impact aspect. You can see here under the last question the contributing policy instruments. So, for example, with the procurement of a 9-person car, the intervention contributed to the social inclusion because the city and the institution became more accessible to people living in the outer areas of Szarvas. So there are some clients who had the chance to access the city with the car that was procured in the intervention. So it looks like this. And this is the step 3, the SWOT analysis. I won't go too much in depth because maybe it's not useful, but we can see that, for example, it's a strength of the intervention that there were very straightforward goals, and as the institution target group was a vulnerable social groups, it has their situation has improved. But for example, the costs of the project were too high, and there were some delays, and also, so not, for example, not new functions weren't created. So an opportunity is in the next project, some new function could be created. For example, yes. And in step 4, we picked the communication strategy of the mayoral office as an innovative policy instrument, because the mayoral office of Szarvas has a very active and very honest communication strategy, with two mayoral interviews per week. So 2 times a week, the mayor gives a big interview in the TV and the radio, and he shares a lot of details with the general public about the project, and other channels are involved as well. So so this is quite unique from the leadership of a small town like Szarvas, and it makes the project, so the information about the project's very accessible to the general public. But still, for example, a more active communication on the internet could reach younger generations more effective. So here you can see how the opportunities are framed. Yes, and here you can see the same table in the benchmarking that I've shown previously. So, for example, the communication strategy of the mayoral office could have contributed to participation and transparency more if some more interactive channels would be included. And so we talked with Esther, with the other Esther from Szarvas yesterday, and she also gave the feedback that it was good that we were working on this assessment process together. So it wasn't, so the method wasn't that that I sent the questions and they sent it back, but it's the more effective way is to do it in a team and to talk through every question together. And yes, and we did it in a way that so it was the testing of the tool. So so I'm not part of the Szarvas municipality, but I only showed this tool for them. But most probably it will be done later. This assessment project will be done later within a municipality, and the best is if you create an environment in which you can be self-critical and honest, and you can share the doubts regarding the project. So so as I mentioned, this is an opportunity to be self-critical with your own practices, but also to see the strengths and good practices within the city or an organization. Yes, another experience was that some questions are just not applicable to every case, which is totally fine. The point here is only that you don't, so it's better if you don't cherry pick some questions, so you're not picking that questions you like and answer them and skip all the others. But when we made this assessment with Sarvas, we found that in some cases, at first you would think that a question is not applicable to your case, but when you think about it more, you realize that yes, this project actually contributed to social inclusion, for example, or environmental sustainability. So it is worth to consider every question and just skip those which are absolutely not applicable. Yes, and it's also useful to note every detail and at the beginning. So even if some details are not covered by the descriptive questions, it can be used later too. So that's it from my side.